Have you ever looked into the eyes of someone who destroyed your life, only to realize they have absolutely no idea who you are? For 3 long years, I walked into the sleek glass offices of Vance Enterprises, keeping my head down, doing my job, and enduring the constant, petty cruelties of my boss, Victoria. To Victoria, I was just Clara, a quiet, plain, disposable administrative assistant. She loved to remind me of my place. She would drop stacks of files on my desk at 4:55 p.m., smirk, and tell me to have them done by morning. She mocked my thrift store clothes and my cheap canvas bag. But I took it all with a calm smile. Why? Because I knew a secret. I knew exactly who Victoria was, even if she had no clue who I was. But my quiet plan for patience was shattered on a Tuesday afternoon. Victoria stormed into my cubicle, her expensive heels clicking aggressively on the linoleum. She didn't look at me. She just threw a heavy, cream-colored envelope onto my keyboard. "Pick out a formal dress, Clara. You're coming with me to my brother's wedding this weekend," she demanded. I blinked, completely caught off guard. Victoria never invited me anywhere, let alone a high society family event. "I need you to manage the catering staff and coordinate the coordinators," she sneered, revealing her true motive. "They're completely incompetent, and I'm not ruining my brother's big day. You'll be my assistant for the weekend." I looked down at the gold-embossed lettering on the invitation, the wedding of Julian Vance and Evelyn Cross. My heart stopped. My breath caught in my throat. Julian Vance, the brother, the golden boy, and more importantly, the son of Eleanor Vance. The trap was set, and my boss had just walked me right into it. Before we go deeper into story, if you believe in power of doing the right thing, please take a moment to like this video, comment, share it with someone who needs help today, and subscribe to the Revenge Files 396. And tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? To understand the chill that ran down my spine, you have to understand what happened 10 years ago. Before I was Clara, the quiet assistant, I was just a girl from a proud, hardworking family. My father owned a boutique construction firm, and we weren't wealthy, but we were happy. That was until Vance Enterprises, led by the ruthless matriarch Eleanor Vance, offered my father a massive partnership. It was supposed to change our lives. My father poured every single penny of our life savings into the project. He trusted them, but the Vances didn't want a partner. They wanted a scapegoat. When a major structural issue arose due to materials their suppliers provided, they falsified documents and pinned the entire financial and legal disaster on my father. They ruined him. Our business went under, our home was foreclosed, and the stress caused my father a severe medical emergency from which he never truly recovered. I watched my family disintegrate while the Vance family used the profits from that very project to build their massive empire. They forgot about us. To them, we were just bugs crushed on their windshield to wealth. When my father passed away 2 years ago, his last words to me were about restoring our family name. I legally changed my last name to my mother's maiden name, altered my appearance with simple glasses and muted clothing, and got a job at Vance Enterprises. I wanted to see how they operated from the inside. I wanted justice. The wedding was held at the Vance family's private coastal estate. It was a display of sickening wealth. Hundreds of elite guests walked around the manicured lawns, sipping champagne. I arrived early, wearing a simple, dark navy dress I bought on sale. Victoria found me within minutes. "There you are," she snapped, handing me her heavy designer coat and a clipboard. "The flower arrangements in the main pavilion look limp. Go fix it, and stay out of the main photography lines. You don't exactly fit the aesthetic here." I swallowed my pride, nodded, and went to work. For hours, I ran around ensuring the billionaire wedding went off without a hitch, all while keeping my eyes open. As the ceremony ended and the reception began, the atmosphere grew lively. I stood near the edge of the grand ballroom, adjusting the schedule for the evening toasts. I watched Julian, the groom, laughing with his friends. He looked just like his mother, arrogant, entitled, convinced the world belonged to him. Victoria was on the dance floor, bragging to a group of executives about how she had organized the entire event perfectly. I smiled to myself. Enjoy your moment, Victoria. Because the true guest of honor hadn't arrived at my side just yet. It happened during the cocktail hour. The crowd parted as the matriarch herself, Eleanor Vance, walked into the room. She was draped in diamonds, her posture rigid and regal. Victoria immediately broke away from her conversation and rushed to her mother's side, eager to seek approval. I stood near the catering bar, holding a tray of champagne flutes that a busy waiter had handed to me. Victoria saw me and signaled aggressively with her hand. "Clara, bring that tray over here, right now. My mother needs a drink," she called out loudly, wanting to show off how authoritative she was in front of her mom. I took a deep breath. This was it. The moment I had spent years waiting for. I walked slowly across the polished marble floor. My glasses were off now. I had left them in my bag. My hair, usually tied in a messy, distracting bun, was falling perfectly around my face. I walked right up to Eleanor Vance and offered the tray. "Good evening, Mrs. Vance," I said, my voice steady, clear, and perfectly calm. Eleanor smiled her cold, polite smile and reached for a glass. But as her eyes met mine, her hand froze midair. The color completely drained from her face. The silence between us became deafening. The ambient noise of the party seemed to fade into the background. Eleanor's eyes widened in sheer, unadulterated terror. She looked like she had just seen a ghost. Because to her, she had. I looked exactly like my father. But more than that, she recognized my eyes. The same eyes that had stared at her in a courtroom a decade ago, begging for mercy. It's really you," Eleanor whispered, her voice trembling so violently that the woman next to her turned to look. Victoria laughed nervously, completely oblivious. "Mother, what are you talking about? This is just Clara. She's my assistant from the office."
"She's practically invisible." Eleanor didn't even look at her daughter.
Her gaze was locked on me. "No," Eleanor breathed, her hand dropping to her side. "That is not Clara. She is Thomas Thorne's daughter." The moment the name passed her lips, a ripple of panic crossed Eleanor's face. She knew exactly what my presence meant. She knew that a Thorne standing in the middle of a Vance family celebration was a countdown to a disaster. "What do you want?" Eleanor hissed under her breath, stepping closer so the surrounding guests couldn't hear. But I didn't back down. "I just wanted to see how beautiful a wedding paid for by stolen lives looks," I replied, my voice a whisper of pure ice. Victoria looked between us, her mouth opening and closing like a fish. "Wait. Mother, what is going on? Who is she?" The confusion on Victoria's face was deeply satisfying. She had spent 3 years treating me like garbage, completely unaware that I held the match that could burn her family's reputation to the ground. I reached into the small evening clutch bag hanging from my wrist. I didn't pull out a weapon or a legal threat. I pulled out a simple, sleek USB flash drive and placed it gently on the silver champagne tray right in front of Eleanor. 10 years ago, you thought you destroyed all the original supply logs from the harbor project," I said quietly. "But my father kept a digital backup on a private server. And for the last 3 years, working in your compliance department, Victoria was kind enough to give me access to the modern company network to cross-reference them. It's all there. The fraud, the tax evasion, the real reason your empire exists." Eleanor staggered back a step, looking at the USB drive as if it were a bomb. Victoria finally realized the gravity of what was happening. "Clara, you can't do this. This is my brother's wedding." "Security!" she gasped, trying to raise her voice. "Call security, Victoria," I challenged calmly. "Let's make a scene. Let's invite the journalists outside to see what's on this drive. I'm sure the press would love to know why the Vance family is suddenly under a federal audit." "Oh, wait! Did I forget to mention? A copy of this went to the federal authorities at noon today." The music continued to play, but at our table, the world had ended. Eleanor looked at me, the arrogance completely gone from her eyes, replaced by a desperate, broken plea. "Please," she whispered. "We can settle this. Name your price." I looked at her, then at Victoria, who was now trembling with fear, realizing her entire lavish lifestyle was built on sand and about to wash away. "My price was paid 10 years ago," I said. I turned around and walked out of the ballroom, leaving the tray, the USB, and the shattered pieces of their dynasty behind me. Within 6 months, the fallout was absolute. The federal investigation sparked by the files I provided uncovered a decade of systemic financial fraud within Vance Enterprises. The company was forced into restructuring, their assets were frozen, and Eleanor Vance faced severe legal penalties that ruined her reputation forever. Victoria was let go from the firm during the liquidation, forced to face the real world without her family's stolen wealth protecting her. I stood outside the old office building one last time, watching them remove the silver Vance letters from the facade. I didn't feel anger anymore. I didn't even feel hatred. I just felt a deep, profound sense of peace. My father's name had been cleared, and the truth had finally found its way to the light. The Vances thought they could crush ordinary people and build a castle on their ruins. But they forgot that the foundations built on lies will always crumble when the truth finally speaks.